Hey Lion Tribe, just thought I would take a minute and share with you a couple thoughts. The 4th of July is here upon us almost, and, it's a big patriotic day. It's a day we celebrate. Now, listen, my wife and I were married on the 4th of July, 1998, and on the 4th of July, 1999, we had twins. So, we always celebrate the 4th with a big bang. And, listen, I'm very patriotic and I love my country, but I want to read something to you. I want to read this passage of Scripture for you because we think of the U.S. and we think of the freedoms that we have, which are great. But I want to talk to you about where freedom comes from and what freedom actually is. So this is from 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and it says, "Whenever anyone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." Now that's talking about the veil that was in the temple that separated people from seeing God. Also, Moses, who had to wear a veil because he saw God face to face, and it literally, His glory made his face shiny. And he had to wear a veil in front of the people after that, because it changed his appearance. And now, here we are, and there is no veil between us and God. We're allowed to have a relationship with Him. How awesome is that? And where God's Spirit is, there's freedom. That's where freedom comes from. Freedom comes from God. I think it's really important to remember that as we celebrate our great country, which we do have, as we celebrate the freedoms that we do have here, guys, remember that even that freedom was never promised us by God. When this was written, when Paul wrote this, the church was being persecuted. In fact, Paul had been a persecutor of the church, and Christians were being killed for their belief in the risen Christ. So what kind of freedom is he talking about? I think it might look a little bit different. I think true freedom goes beyond just political freedom. It goes beyond just the freedoms that your country affords you. True freedom is in here. True freedom is in here. And true freedom is only found in the Lord. And so I want you to know and understand that we really are the ones who choose to live in a prison. We are the ones who choose to live in bondage. We are the ones who choose to live in slavery. We choose those things because we choose to walk apart from God. We choose to walk away from what God has for us. So for some people, that might be an addiction. Maybe an addiction to pornography. That's slavery. That's bondage. We are slaves to that sin. But because we have direct access to God, because the veil was taken away, God's Spirit is everywhere. It's not just in the back of the temple. It's everywhere. And we can have that. We can be in tune with that. And that's where our freedom comes from. So if you find yourself struggling, or if you find yourself in some kind of slavery, in some kind of mindsets, in some kind of patterns that are not healthy, that are not good, that are not holy, turn to God. Worship Him. Recognize that He is right there with you. He's right there with you. Makes it a lot harder to be okay with bondage when the Creator of the universe is in the same room. And He is. So where the Spirit of the Lord is, that's where you're going to find freedom. Thanks, guys.